Was Maine Mendoza the only one Alden Richards truly loved? How it elevated his image even more. In the world of showbiz, rumors come and go. Headlines change daily, pairings shift, narratives evolve. But sometimes one story lingers in the hearts of fans longer than the rest. For years, supporters of Alden Richards have asked a question that refuses to fade. Was Maine Mendoza the only one he truly loved? Whether interpreted romantically or emotionally, one thing is undeniable. The connection between Alden and Maine shaped not just their careers, but Alden's public image in a profound way. And instead of damaging his reputation, it elevated it. A love story, real or perceived. Their pairing became one of the most iconic in Philippine entertainment. The chemistry felt effortless, the timing felt magical, the reactions felt genuine. Fans didn't just watch, they believed. And when audiences believe in something, it becomes bigger than a script. For many, Alden's visible admiration for Maine, whether as a partner, co-star, or close friend, came across as sincere and unwavering. He wasn't loud, he wasn't dramatic, he wasn't chasing headlines. He appeared consistent. That consistency became part of his identity. Loyalty as a public image. In an industry often associated with fleeting relationships and constant speculation, Alden stood out for a different reason. He never fed controversy. He never publicly disrespected Maine. He never engaged in messy back and forth drama. Instead, he maintained a composed and respectful stance. Whether their bond was romantic or simply professional, the perception of loyalty strengthened his image. Fans saw a man who valued respect over rumors, privacy over publicity, integrity over attention. And that matters. Matters. The power of perception. In showbiz, perception is powerful. Even without official confirmation of romance, the way Alden carried himself around Maine created an emotional narrative that audiences embraced. He often spoke highly of her. He expressed gratitude. He acknowledged her talent and kindness. Those words weren't exaggerated. They felt grounded. And because of that, fans viewed him as emotionally mature and sincere, qualities that are rare and admired. How it made his image stronger. Instead of being defined by scandal, Alden became associated with faithfulness, gentle masculinity, professional discipline, emotional intelligence. The idea that Maine might have been the only woman he deeply cared for, whether true or symbolic, reinforced the perception of devotion. Even when life moved forward and circumstances changed, Alden's reputation remained polished. Why? Because he never betrayed the image he built. He stayed consistent. Growth without noise. As time passed, both Alden and Maine evolved in their own directions. Careers expanded, personal lives matured. But Alden's image remained steady. He didn't rush into public relationships. He didn't publicly contradict the emotional narrative fans cherished. He allowed growth to happen quietly. That quiet maturity only made his image stronger. In a culture that often rewards drama, he chose dignity. Fans' emotional investment. The belief that Maine was the one for Alden became more than gossip. It became a symbol. A symbol of loyalty, pure intentions, unspoken depth. And when fans hold on to a symbol, it reflects how deeply they were touched by what they witnessed. Even if reality is more nuanced than fan theories, the emotional impact was real. Image built on character. What ultimately elevated Alden Richards' image wasn't just a rumored love story. It was how he handled it. He didn't exploit it. He didn't deny it aggressively. He didn't commercialize it beyond professionalism. He honored the connection, whatever it truly was, with respect. And that respect translated into admiration from fans and industry insiders alike. A reputation that endures today, Alden is recognized not just for talent, but for character. In a landscape where celebrity reputations can collapse overnight, his remains intact. The perception that he loved deeply, and loved with dignity, added depth to his public persona. Whether Maine Mendoza was truly the only one, or simply a meaningful chapter in his life, one thing is clear: that era shaped him, and it shaped how the public sees him. Love stories in entertainment are rarely simple. They exist somewhere between performance and reality, between emotion and expectation. But what remains undeniable is this: Alden Richards' image did not suffer from his association with Maine Mendoza. It grew stronger. Because people don't just admire talent, they admire perceived sincerity. And in the end, whether it was romance, friendship, or something beautifully undefined, the connection elevated him. not because of drama, but because of dignity. The era that changed everything when Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza were paired together, it wasn't just another love team introduction. It became a cultural moment. The chemistry felt spontaneous, the reactions felt unscripted, the emotions felt raw. Audiences didn't just watch scenes, they watched reactions, interviews, behind the scenes glances, and subtle gestures. And in those small, unscripted seconds, many fans believed they saw something real. Whether that belief was fully accurate or partly projected, it created an emotional attachment that still lingers today. Alden's quiet consistency. One thing that stood out about Alden during that era was his composure. He wasn't overly dramatic. He didn't perform grand declarations. He wasn't flashy about emotions. Instead, he expressed admiration in subtle ways, respectful language during interviews, protective body language, consistent praise for Maine's work ethic. That subtlety made it feel authentic. In a world where public affection is often exaggerated for attention, restraint can feel more genuine, and fans noticed. When silence speaks louder than headlines. As time passed and their paths shifted, Alden did something many celebrities struggle to do. He stayed silent where necessary. He didn't create controversy. He didn't contradict past sentiments. He didn't rewrite history. That silence wasn't avoidance. It felt like maturity. By not turning a meaningful chapter into tabloid drama, he preserved both his dignity and Maine's, and that restraint enhanced his public image even more. The strength of emotional branding. What many people underestimate is how much emotional branding shapes celebrity reputation. Alden became associated with loyalty, stability, faithfulness, emotional depth. Even the perception that he loved deeply, even if circumstances changed, strengthened that image. Because audiences connect to depth, they connect to sincerity, they connect to someone who appears grounded in values. Beyond romance, the bigger impact. Even if the connection between Alden and Maine wasn't the fairy tale ending some fans hoped for, its impact was undeniable. It elevated his career visibility, solidified his fan base, positioned him as a leading man with heart, showcased his emotional intelligence, and most importantly, it humanized him. He wasn't just an actor delivering lines. He was someone navigating emotion in real time. Why fans still talk about it? Years later, conversations continue. Why? Because some eras leave emotional fingerprints. For many fans, that period symbolized hope, genuine connection, pure admiration, old school romance, and Alden's consistent demeanor throughout that time became part of his legacy. An image that matured, not faded today, Alden stands as a respected figure in the industry. His projects continue, his professionalism remains intact, his reputation is stable. Rather than being defined by a past pairing, he has grown from it. And perhaps that's the real story. Not that he loved only one woman, not that he stayed emotionally frozen in time, but that he handled a significant chapter with grace. And grace leaves a lasting impression. Final thought. Whether Maine Mendoza was the only one Alden truly loved is something only he fully understands. But what the public witnessed was enough to shape perception. And perception, when built on dignity, becomes legacy. Alden Richards didn't just gain fame from that era, he gained credibility. And in showbiz, credibility lasts longer than headlines.